Okay. Okay. Ha'omer li'isha. I'm just going over again because we're going to cover quite a bit of ground today. Ha'omer li'isha areid mukadeshes li. A man says to a woman, I'm marrying you, and he gives her, let's say, a pruta, a cent. Almanah she'etein loch mosai mezuz, on the condition that I give you $200. Open-ended. Harezu mukadeshes. She's married. Vuyitain. And he will give. Now, we're going to have an argument, the Gemara, what that means, and he will give. Does he mean, and when he gives it, it's retroactive when he gave her the pruta? When he said, Almanas, is Almanas Kimi Achshav? We'll see in the Gemara in Amid Beis. Doesn't make time. Doesn't make, but Almanas is Kimi Achshav. Let's see what it say explicitly. I'm marrying you Mi Achshav on the condition I give you $100. Let's see what say that explicitly. Nobody argues. When he gives the woman the money, whenever he gives her, it's retroactive. Because he said clearly, Mi Achshav, from now. I'm marrying you now when I give you the $100. So then it's retroactive from when he gave her the penny. But he didn't say me'achshav. He said almanas, on the condition that I give you the $200.
You give it to her on the last day of her life.
You're right, 100%. Harezum gedeshes vuyitain. Almanas she'etein loch mikan vad lamed yom. He says, I'm marrying you. He gives her the penny on the condition I give you within 30 days the $200. Nasan lo besoch shloshim gedeshes. So if he meets the condition, he gives it to her within 30 days, she's married. If the 30 days passes and he didn't yet give her the money, he didn't keep his word, the original marriage is definitely nothing. Whether it's retroactive or it's then, it's nothing. He says, I'm marrying you on the condition that I have $200 to my name. Right? She's not interested in marrying a pauper. That's interesting. Why the Gemara the Mishnah uses this case. The Gemara says, to be an oni, a poor man, leket shekopea. Torah says you have to leave the corner you feel for the poor. The gleanings of the field have to leave for the poor. Let's say a person has $200 to his name. He's not permitted to take the gleanings because his financial state is not called, is considered poor. He's not an impoverished person. So it could be that's why the Mishnah review that also uses the $200 case. I'm marrying on the condition that I'm worth $200. If I'm worth $200, that means I'm not a poor man. Okay? Harezu mukadeshes v'yeshlo. She's married if he has $200. No. That he possesses. That he has it. This is not giving. No, gives her a penny now. Give her a penny, but it's conditional that I'm worth $200. I'm not she'erech mosai mezuz. That visually I will show you that I have it. It's not enough that I have it, that you have to see it yourself. I have to prove it to you I have it. Harez mukadeshes. V'yira Lord, he has to show it to her. V'imhera ala shulchan, what happens if he's a money changer? So the money he has is not his money, but he has within his possession $200, and mukadeshes, because her understanding was that you're worth $200. It's not that you have within your possession $200. No.
No, I don't mean the reason.
Itmar. Now we have an argument when the Mishnah says, Harem Gudeshli Amanas She'etein Lech Mosayim Zuz. Right? I'm marrying you on Almanas, on the condition that I give you $200, and it says, V'hu Yitain, and he gives it. Rav Huna Amar Hu Yitain. We'll see, and he'll give it. When he gives it, we'll see, it's retroactive. Meaning, he said Almanas, it was a conditional marriage. I'm marrying you now with the penny on the condition that I give you $200. That's Rav Huna. It's Machlokes Tanoim. We'll see in a minute. Yes. Rav Huna holds Almanas is the equivalent of saying Me'achshav, as if you would say from this moment.
But is the woman off limit to anyone else?
Definitely. Because you don't know what's going to be. Because whenever he meets this condition, retroactive, she's a married woman.
Yes, but he may give it, 20 years later.
She agreed to enter into the thing, so she shouldn't have agreed to the condition. She shouldn't have taken the penny the first moment. This was her decision. Okay? Review Domer L'chshi Yitain. Review doesn't know. When he gives the $200, that's when the marriage takes effect. It's not retroactive. So what's the halachic difference between Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda? Rav Yehuda, Amavu Yitain, to no havi. Mekayim. To no havi, Mekayim, to no ivozil. So what? So it's open-ended. Whenever he fulfills the condition, so he has all this time, it's fulfilled the condition, then it's going to be retroactive. Rav Yehuda, Amano, L'chshi Yitain. When he says, when the Mishnah says Yitain means when he gives it, the Chiyov, Havi Kedushi. When does the Kedushin come about? When he gives the $200. It's not retroactive. Hashtra Mil, Havi Kedushi, but at this moment, right, even when he gives it, she's not going to be married. So we'll see, Simar says, my Beinayus. What's the halachic difference between Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda? Where she went and accepted Kedushin from a third party. The Rav Huna Lavi Kedushi, according to Rav Huna, if he eventually gives the $200, the marriage to the second person is not a marriage. Because retroactively, she's married to the first person. So the second person married a married woman. Rabbi Yehuda Avi Kedushi. But according to Rabbi Yehuda says, when does the marriage come about? It's only when he actually gives the money. So until he gave the money, she was a single woman. So if she's accepted marriage from a third party, she's married to the second person, not to the first person. Okay? He doesn't live with her. He's not permitted to live with her. She's single, right? The penny's like a down payment towards the $200. So then, when he gives it, that's when the marriage takes place. No, he finds out later. He gave it to her. She's a married woman. The first person is marrying a married woman. Because the second person preempted him by marrying her before he gave her the $200. The second man is the husband. The first man's not the husband. But the fruit is not the marriage. It's payment towards the 200. I'm starting to pay you now towards the 200. Otherwise, it's nothing. There's nothing. How's it retroactive? He says, "Harei mukdeshes li almanas." So let's talk about when you give me the $200. You're married to me now, almanas. So what do you mean you're married to me? What did you do now? What do you mean you're married to me now? What is the now? What's the now? If you tell me it's an act of kedushin to be paid out, so when it's going to be paid out, that's what's going to happen. But if you gave him nothing now, what do you do? What's the mukudeshes? He didn't say, I'll marry you in 30 days, or I'll marry you when I give you the money. He didn't say that. He said, Arei mukdeshesli. So we had earlier. Very simple. He doesn't give the money. He doesn't give the money. Finished. Doesn't meet the condition. I mean, he could keep her locked up for forever. No, if he would make a statement, we had earlier, Osi Dibur Batal Dibur. Right? But before we speak about a different case, it wasn't retro. A man gives a woman money, and he says, I'm giving you $100 now, the marriage should take effect in 30 days from now. Right? So over there, we rule, like Rabbi Yochanan, that Osi Dibur Batal Dibur. That since the marriage will only take effect in 30 days, although an action was done, but since the action was not effective yet, he's able to retract. And we rule like Rabbi Yochanan. But there, it's different in this case. Here, because if he should ever give the money, it's going to be retroactive. So here, I mean... Of course he could give. That's understood.
But then you can break it.
No, but let's say that question is, could he back out? No. Let's say he changes his mind 20 years later, and he gives her the $200. Is she marriage retroactive? That's the question. See, I want to just explain. This case is different than the previous case. Because the previous case, the marriage was not retroactive. Here it's going to be retroactive if he ever gives the money. So this is not so simple. This is Osi Dibur Vatal Dibur. Right? This is Osi Dibur Vatal Maisa. Because here, the action he did does have the viability of marriage. Now, that's the difference. I don't think he could break it. can't, according to, because Rabbi Yochanan agrees he cannot retract if it's more than dibur. No, he gives her nothing. Just doesn't pay the money.
She wants to be free. And he's agreed to free her. So how does she get free from this? How does she get on with that?
You say free. If she would have married somebody, he would never have given her money.
Yeah, but then the whole thing's up in the air. God forbid he should ever give her the money. And give her the money means even balkorcha. Let's say she says, I don't want it. The way to do it is if she evades him for the rest of her life, that she doesn't allow him to give her the money. But if he forces the money upon her, then she's marriage retroactive. Then we have a problem. You know something? So what are they going to do? I mean, people behave. What, it's not. A woman commits adultery, God forbid. So the child's a mamzer. The person's going to be put to death. The people, the Chazal want people to die and have illegitimacy, annul the marriage. It was conditional on whether the Chacham wanted to be or not. If this should ever, God forbid, take place, we annul it. But they don't do such a thing. It's not the Wild West. It's like, somebody, there used to be a person who used to come in many years ago. His name was Mike Goldberger, over Sholem. So he attended, and he was a well-weathered Jew from Europe, from Hungary. So he attended a wedding one time in West Hampton. So a woman rabbi officiated. Double ring, triple ring ceremony. It was all kind of different things. And he goes over to, she's a Harei Mukdesheslik, Tabazuk, Das Moshe Yisrael. So he goes over, he says, Rabbi, beautiful ceremony. Really impressed. I've never seen anything like it before. He says, but I have one question. You told the groom to say Harei Mukdesheslik, Das Moshe Yisrael. He says, what does it have to do with Das Moshe? You want to say Kadas Hampton, West Hampton, East Hampton, I understand. What does that have to do with Kadas Moshe Yisrael? You understand? It has no relevance to it. But everything else was perfect. Chazal understand we have to maintain a certain degree of behavior. If they're going to know marriages, whenever something happens, the whole institution of marriage is worthless. I understand. No, because we rule Almanas is me'achshav. So let's say he didn't say Almanas. He's me'achshav. No, so everybody agrees. So his question is the same question. But you can have problems. The woman now is tied up for the rest of her life. You understand? So she's tied up. So she shouldn't have gotten involved. He did a Maisa. He gave her the ring. She has the ring. Except it's conditional on the payout. So he always has that rope around her neck. If he should ever give her that 200, it's retroactive. First case was a different case. He says, here's the money now, but the marriage should be effective in 30 days. So the effectiveness of the marriage hasn't yet happened. I would say probably even the second case, he could annul it. He could retract, because since factually it hasn't yet taken place. No, but you could differentiate. You could differentiate between the cases. I mean, so the difficulty is, so why does Rabbi Yochanan argue Reish Lakish in a case of a lesser Chiddush? He should argue the second case. The second case is a better case to argue. That if it's even where it's retroactive, that's called Osi Dibur Vatal Dibur. Right? Why do they only argue the first case? Seemingly the second case is not so simple. That's the point I'm making. You understand what I'm saying, Ernie?
In order to free you, you're going to have to give her the money and then give her again.
I still feel that he could retract, but my question is, so why doesn't Rabbi Yochanan argue the second case, which is a greater Chiddush rather than the first case? Okay, not answering it. Okay, so that's the argument. We have Rabbi Yehuda and Rav Huna. Avrami, you with us?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay? I'm not sure. Not sure it's more common. Why a person marries a woman conditionally. She says, I'm only agreeable to marry if you give me whatever it is. You don't give it to me, I'm not marrying you. So, he says, so, me'achshav, if I give you. Right, you buy a piece of property. Payment within 30 days. You don't pay me within 30 days, then the property is not your property. Tanan nami. Gabi get, gitten. We have the same case regarding a get. Ki agavda, the identical case. So Omer li shareze gitoch almana shetitni li mosayim zus. Man divorces a woman. He gives her the get on the condition you give me $200. Now, when he said almanas, what does he mean? Harezu megareshes. So the Mishnah says in Gittin, she's divorced. Vihi titain, and she will give. Itmar. So what does that mean? Rafuna mavi titain. When she gives the money, the get is retroactively effective when she received the get. Meaning the almanas is a condition. Rav Yehuda Omer, no, lichshe titain. When does the get become effective? When she gives the money. When she gives the money, that's when the get becomes effective. But originally, so even when it's not retroactive. No, it says almanas. The witnesses who heard him say, I'm giving you the get on the almanas, on the condition you give me $200. Exactly. So now it's all contingent on the $200. Let's say she will never give him let's say she dies before she gives him $200. That means she died a widow. She died a widow. Not that it makes a difference if she died a widow or not. Okay? But the Gemara is going to ask a question, what's the halachic difference between Rafun and Rabbi Yehuda in this context? We'll see. Rafuna ma v'titain tino havig. Mekaimo tino havig, it's a tenai. Mekaimo tino v'ozlo. So therefore, when she gives him the $200, she's fulfilling the condition. So, but when is the get effective? It's retroactive from when initially she received the get. Okay? Rav Yehuda Amar l'chshetitain. When she gives the money, that's when the get takes effect. L'chiyovolei hu davi gito. When she gives the money, that's when the get becomes a get. That's when the marriage is terminated. Then, hashtra milavi get. But at this moment, until she gives that money, although she received the document, which ultimately will terminate it, the marriage is not terminated. Mark's going to ask, what's the difference between Rabbi Yehuda and Rav Huna in this context? My beinayu, interesting. Ika beinayu shniskareya haget ush ovad. Interesting. What happens if the get is burnt, was torn up? If the get is effective in 30 days, so what will terminate the marriage? The document. So if the document no longer exists in 30 days, so what's terminating the marriage? However, it's retroactive, so the marriage is terminated immediately. Conditional, that she gives him the money. So therefore, if it's destroyed or whatever it is, it's not a problem. Okay, we'll see Tosus in a minute. She has to give the money. We're not going to allow her to get married, because what happens if she never gives him the money? She never gives him the money. That means she was never divorced. She has to meet the condition before the get takes effect retroactively. When she gives him the money.
And this argument is a big argument. I mean, it's not a little thing. But where did this take? In my world, there is something called a sign and subsequent clause, and there's something called a simultaneous clause. So
Avrami, is that in your world too? Okay. Okay. Okay, just wanted to hear that.
So if there are conditions attached, then it's a very explicit. Do I actually own something?
Okay, I wasn't listening. That's it. Okay, I picked up on your world. That's the reason why. Let's start over again. What are the terminologies?
There's something called a sign and subsequent clause.
Okay.
And there's something called a simultaneous clause.
Okay.
A sign and subsequent clause means there are some conditions that have to be met
Okay.
before the closing takes place.
And when the conditions are met, what happens?
The conditions, it is retroactive.
Okay, it's retroactive. Good.
And then there's a simultaneous clause.
What is
which
that?
When all the conditions are met, that's when the deal takes place. Now, that is something that is very explicit.
Okay.
There's no ambiguity about that.
Okay.
People go into a deal that is very aware of this difference.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about our discussion. Let's talk about our discussion. Let's say he said to her, I'm divorcing you, may achshov. He said, from now, if you give me $200. Very explicit. Nobody argues. Even if the get is destroyed later, it's retroactive. If she gives him the $200, she's divorced retroactively, because she said from now. We have an argument, if you say on the condition, not from now, does on the condition mean retroactive, or does it not mean retroactive? So there's an ambiguity. So the question, how do I interpret that ambiguity? Rav Huna says it's the equivalent of saying from now. He says, no, it's not. It means then. When you pay the money, that's when it will take effect. So it may be ambiguous if you don't know how to interpret it, but each one says this is what it means.
All I'm saying is that it's such a big deal, this difference.
Of course, this is tremendous. And why is it more here than the case of marriage? Exact same thing. If she accepts marriage from a third party.
It's just hard for me to understand it. That wouldn't
Wouldn't be clearer.
Yeah, wouldn't be clear.
We're dealing with novices here. We're not talking about, what do you go to a lawyer to write a document? Because there's a certain language that has the legalese, has value. Otherwise, the person says, I meant something else, but it's really what you meant. The question is, what does it really mean within a legal context? Same idea. Of course. Exactly.
If you want to get divorced, you don't just do this in the backyard. I mean, the stakes are pretty high. You go to a bit room, you go to the rabbi.
You know what the answer to your question is? Kasha v'maisa. That's the answer.
I understand.
With all of many things, it's all theoretics. That if it should happen, how would you deal with the issue? How often did this happen? Very rarely, because the one who oversaw the get was the expert. And therefore, he would make sure to verify and understand what did you mean when you said that. Did you mean A, B, or C? And if you meant differently, then use a term which is it's explicit and clear where we understand what you mean. Okay? So now the question is, Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda argued two cases. They argued the case of Keddushin, and they argued the case of Gittin. I mean, if you argue one case, they were argued, does Almanas mean Me'achshav, or does it mean later? Correct? So you've already established your position. Keddushin, you've already said, Rav Huna says it means retroactive. Rav Yehuda says it means not retroactive. Okay? So now we come to a case of get. You say, you apply the same principle. Whatever means in one, but yet they argue in both cases. What do they have to argue about the case of Keddushin and the case of Gittin? Right? That's the Gemara's question. You have a question? Okay. Yeah, so that's the Gemara's question. Seems to be it's totally superfluous. We're not interested in just giving other examples. We've already established the principle, gave you an example, sufficient. Why overstate your case? One you shed tears, and one you rejoice. There are times with a get, I say mazel tov to a person too. There are times. It's the same thing. It's the same, but it's the same principles being applied. Maybe when you have no choice, you give that answer. But if you have a better answer, you say the better answer. Right? The Gemara is going to say a better answer than that. Okay? Utsricha, we need both cases. Diyashmi now. When a man wants to marry a woman, she says, I'm agreeable to marry you, but you have to give me $200. If he's agreeable to marry, that means he wants it to take place as quickly as possible, and he doesn't want the third party to be able to preempt him. And she wants to marry him also. She's agreeable. However, she wants to be paid the $200. So when he says, almanas, although almanas is ambiguous, but maybe in each context it would be interpreted differently. When we speak about marriage, where he wants to marry and she wants to be married as quickly as possible, almanas means retroactive. Correct? But gittin, when you divorce a woman, once you terminate, it's over. The man says, something, I want to delay it a little bit. So therefore, when he says almanas, it means not retroactive. Because he prefers, since it's going to be terminating a relationship, delay it. So when I said, on the condition it can be 200, it means, when you give it to me, that's when the get will take effect. So although I interpret in one context to mean one thing, in another context I'll interpret it differently. Okay? Right? Within marriage, he's bringing her closer to him. He wants to marry her. Aval Gerushin de l'rocha kosi, where he's coming to distance her, to terminate the relationship. Ema modele de Rav Yehuda. I would say Rav Huna concurs with Rav Yehuda that what? That what's almanas? It does not mean me'achshav. It's not retroactive. Why is it difficult?
Because the man never pulled the car. It's his, he pulls the trigger. To say that he's doing this, he doesn't have to do it.
Wait 1 second. She wants a divorce. She wants a divorce. He says, I'm only agreeable to give you the divorce if you give me $200. That's what he says to her. He's setting the condition. On the condition you give me $200. So now we have a question. What he said, on the condition, does he mean retroactive? Or does it mean when you give me the money? The word almanas is ambiguous. If he says you divorce from now, it's clear what he meant. When you give me the money, it's retroactive. But he used a term which could be interpreted either way. On the condition means later, that's when, or maybe means retroactive.
If he doesn't want this, he can say no. I'm not giving you a divorce.
No, but again, but he's agreeable. He is agreeable. But how quickly does he want it to take effect? Retroactive, or when she gives him the money? That's the question. It's a mindset.
It couldn't happen quickly. Right. But Dad, it couldn't happen quickly.
Well, but no, the reason why you continue is maybe they can reconcile. So you didn't advance this opportunity until that's why it's not my
Factually, if he wants to get rid of her as quickly as possible, he has a condition. If you give me $200, right? So therefore, since almanas factually could be interpreted one way or another way, in each context, based on the context, maybe that's the way I will interpret it. Kedushin means retroactive, and gittin means when the money will be given. Therefore, Rav Huna has to state his case in both. Not only Kedushin, even Gerushin. 1 second. So, so let's state Gerushin, right? Divorce. Yeah? By regarding divorce, the man has no problem. He's not embarrassed. She doesn't pay the money. He says, where's the money? Right? I would say marriage, she says, I'm agreeable to marry if you give me $200. So she's embarrassed. Let's say that he delays on it. Is she going to say, when you give me the money? Right? I mean, a woman, she has her pride also. There's a pride issue. She's embarrassed. So maybe, therefore, you know something? Almanasa, since that's the understanding, until you give it, only then it happens. Therefore, it's going to happen later rather than sooner. So in that context, I'm not going to say it's going to be retroactive. It'll be when you give me the money, then we're on the same page. Until you give me the money, then regardless of what you meant, that's not what it means. And since he understands that, therefore in that context when he said almanas, it doesn't mean retroactive, but rather means when the money is given, that's when the marriage actually takes place. Therefore he has to state his case in both, his position in both cases, Kedushin and Gerushin. Now, Tosas explains why by get. What's the halachic difference if it's retroactive or it's when she gives the money, if the get is destroyed or lost. Now, today things are not so as complicated as one time. There's a tshuva in the Noida Yehuda. Person was, people lived in different locations, and there was always a question of traveling. And a person was made as a shliach by the husband to deliver a get. And in the olden days, person he'd keep it in, let's say, in a satchel. Very often he would have to wade through a river. What happens is the letters on the get become obliterated, where it's barely legible. It's not simple. And ultimately they give the get. So it's simple. What was the condition of the get when she received it? Did it become obliterated when she had it? Did it become obliterated when the agent was bringing the get? Because he's the agent of the husband. That means the get has to be fully legible when the get is actually given. Right? There were all these kinds of shilas. So this discussion is kareya get she'ovda. That's only one application, but there could be other cases. The get is intact, but it's been obliterated. It's been smudged. Is it legible? Is it not legible? Is it a valid get or not? And even certain parts of the get, if they're smudged, the get still retains its validity. But if the key part of the get is obliterated or smudged, it's not a valid get. Okay? Well, would be a get. That's what I'm saying. The application does not be where it was torn or lost.
One way of delivering a get is throwing in the courtyard of the woman.
No, I'm talking about an agent. An agent was appointed. That means he has to travel to another country, another city.
Yes, but he doesn't have to give it to the woman. He can put it
I understand,
in the
but what?
courtyard.
Correct.
And the courtyard, during that time, could be a week before...
Before, no, she has to be aware that she's getting it.
Oh, she has to be aware.
Yeah. Meisvei. So now the Gemara asks a question. Meisvei. So we have an argument. Is Almanas retroactive or is Almanas later? We said, what's the halachic difference if the get is destroyed? So what happens if I quote a Mishnah now, that the Mishnah states, or Tosefta, that even if it's destroyed, it's a valid get. So it would be a refutation on Rav Yehuda, correct? Because you see, clearly Almanas means retroactive. The husband says to the wife, this you get on the condition you give me $200. Afal pishin is kareya get. Even if the get should be torn, or should be lost, harezu mukudeshes. Harezu mukureshes. She's divorced. So what does that say? So you see clearly it's retroactive. Because we just said, what's the halachic difference if it's retroactive or when she gives the money, if the get's destroyed? So here it says explicitly, even if it gets destroyed, if she gives the money, she's divorced. So what does this support? This supports Rav Huda's position. La'acha lo tinose achetitein. But factually, she permitted to marry a third party in the interim. She's not, because it's questionable. Because if she doesn't meet the condition, then definitely the get's not a get. Because he only gave the get on the condition she has to give the money. That's number one. So that's one difficulty in Rav Yehuda, right? It's a refutation. According to Rav Yehuda, what does Almanas mean? So if when you give the money, there's no get, so what are you being divorced with at this moment? Doesn't make a difference. No. We said before that's the only way it could be effective if it's destroyed. That the termination took place when it was given. Yes. Can't be. It was destroyed. If the get has to terminate the marriage, when is it being terminated? Retroactive or later? Later. So what's terminating the marriage? There's no get. Votanya. Omar lo harizi gituch mashitin li mosaim zuz umes. You hear this? And he dies. Ein skukali yovim. Now this is a little more difficult, this case. Because the question the Gemara is going to explain in a moment, what he said on the condition, give me $200, does it mean to me personally, or even to my heirs? Even to my heirs. If he meant even to my heirs, so even if he dies. If she gives the heirs after he dies, so the condition was met, so retroactively, she was a divorcee. Let me ask you, a person says, the property is yours on the condition you either pay me or my heirs so much money. And then he dies. Is the transaction valid? It's the exact same thing. The exact same thing. The marriage is retroactive. The divorce is retroactive. Whether you pay me or my heirs the money, the get is a get from now. So if she meets the condition, she's not a yavama, right? Umes ein zkuka liyavam lo nosno. But if she did not give it, zkuka liyavam, then she's bound to the yavam. Well, if he died, who else did she give it to, right? Nosno ein zkuka liyavam. Or he gave it before he died. We'll say, no. No senes la'ochiv or la'oviv. Lechem nerakrovim. No, he gave it to before. Rishon says, no, even if he gives it to the brother, to the father, to one of the relatives, to the heirs, she's not a Yavama. Ad kan lo pligi elo d'mar sovado v'lo li yorshai. The Tanakam holds, when I said, give me the 20, it means you have to give it to me, not to one of my heirs. Umar sov afilu yorshim. Rav Shmuel says, no. even if you give it to one of my heirs, that's considered meeting the condition, so it's retroactive. But the Kuli Almamiyah, but both Reb Shimon and Tanakam are of the opinion that what? To Nohabik, that it's what? Almanas is the equivalent of saying, Mi'akshav, it's a condition. To Rav Yehuda. So you see, Rav Yehuda is refuted. Because Rav Yehuda says Almanas means, Lichshiyitein, it's later. Omach Rav Yehuda, Hamani Rebbe. This discussion with Almanas means retroactive or later, it's a Machlokes Tanoim. The Tosefta you're quoting, what you want to use as a refutation, that's the position of Rebbe. Rebbe is of the opinion, Almanas is K'mi'achshav. Dom Rav Huna Omer Rebbe. Rav Huna said name of Rebbe called Ome Almanas Kol Mi'achshav Domi. When a person is Almanas, it's the equivalent of saying from now. Upliga Rabbona Alei. But the Chacham, they argue with Rebbe. There's an argue, Rebbe and the Chachamim, when a person is Almanas, is that the equivalent of saying from now? Or does it mean when it happens? And I follow the position of the Chachamim.